This was not random. Confusion isn't chaos. It's construction. The moment your life stops making sense is often the moment it begins rearranging itself. You think you clicked this video out of boredom, out of curiosity, out of habit. But what if you didn't? What if something in you, quiet, subtle, almost invisible, recognized this moment before your conscious mind did? Because there is a strange experience that happens right before a timeline shifts. Nothing dramatic explodes. No thunder cracks across the sky. No clear ending announces itself. Instead, you feel in between, not who you were, not yet who you're becoming, suspended, like standing in fog between two roads where both feel unfamiliar. And here's the paradox. That disorientation, that uncertainty, that sense that your old life no longer fits. It isn't a mistake. It's a transition. A timeline shift has already begun. The in-between. When identity starts to dissolve, let's talk about what this actually feels like. You wake up and your routine still exists, but it feels thinner, like you're acting in a role you've already outgrown. Conversations don't land the same. Goals that once drove you no longer ignite you. Even your reactions feel delayed, as if your nervous system is recalibrating. From the outside, nothing is broken, but inside, something has quietly withdrawn its agreement. You try to motivate yourself the way you used to. You try to reattach to old ambitions. You try to get back to normal. But normal feels foreign. This is the space most people misinterpret. They think, I'm lost. I'm falling behind. I need to fix this. But what if you're not lost? What if the reason the old identity feels unstable is because it's dissolving? Psychologically, identity is a structure, a pattern of thoughts, behaviors, emotional responses. And neuroscience shows us something important. The brain resists change until staying the same becomes more painful than evolving. You don't shed identities because it's poetic. You shed them because they no longer serve survival. So when your old motivations stop working, it's not laziness, it's misalignment. A misalignment is often the first signal that a timeline shift has already begun. Why confusion is a sign of realignment. Here's something most people don't understand. Clarity comes last. Confusion comes first. When a caterpillar enters the chrysalis, it doesn't slowly grow wings. It dissolves completely. Its old body structure breaks down into something almost unrecognizable before reorganizing into a butterfly. Imagine if consciousness works the same way. Before your new reality forms, the old one destabilizes. This is why your plans feel foggy, why certainty feels out of reach, why your future seems blurred. It's not because you're off path, it's because you're between versions. Carl Jung spoke about individuation, the process of becoming who you truly are by integrating and shedding outdated aspects of the self. But individuation is not comfortable. It feels like losing ground before gaining depth. Spiritually, you could call it awakening. Psychologically, you could call it restructuring. Energetically, you could call it quantum realignment. Different language, same phenomenon. The old narrative cracks, the new one hasn't stabilized yet, so you float. And floating feels unsafe to a mind that prefers certainty. But floating is not falling, it's transitioning. The quantum metaphor. When reality reorganizes, in quantum physics, particles behave unpredictably until observed. They exist in probability states, multiple potentials at once. Only when measured do they collapse into a fixed position. Now imagine your life as a field of probabilities. For years, you are collapsed into one identity, one storyline, one version of reality. But something shifted. The observation changed. Your awareness changed. And when awareness shifts, reality reorganizes. This is not magic. It's perception restructuring. When your internal self-image updates, your external life must eventually follow. But there's always a delay. And that delay is where you are right now, between collapse and creation, between dismantling and design, between timeline A and timeline B. And here is the part no one tells you. The more you try to force clarity in this phase, the longer it lasts. Because forcing is attachment to a structure that is already dissolving. The mirror moment. Sometimes life doesn't send fireworks. It sends mirrors. A sentence that hits too deeply. A conversation that lingers. A quiet feeling you can't ignore. A video you randomly click. Mirrors don't create transformation. They reveal readiness. If this feels personal, it's not because I know you. It's because you recognize yourself. Something in you is ready to admit. The old timeline doesn't fully fit anymore. The relationships feel different. The ambitions feel heavier. The pace feels unnatural. You're craving something more aligned, even if you don't yet know what that means. Awareness always precedes movement, and awareness can feel like loss before it feels like liberation. The paradox of the void. The void phase is the most misunderstood stage of transformation. It feels empty, but emptiness is not absence, it's space. And space is required for new structures to form. Think of the night sky. It looks dark, but it is filled with stars you can't see in daylight. When your life goes quiet, it isn't punishment, it's preparation. Momentum disappears because direction is recalibrating. Motivation fades because meaning is upgrading. This is why everything feels slower. Because the nervous system is integrating a new identity. You are not broken. You are buffering. What happens when you stop resisting? Here's the turning point. The shift accelerates when you stop trying to rush it, when you stop demanding answers, when you stop chasing the old urgency, because urgency belongs to the old timeline. The new timeline is built on alignment, and alignment feels calm. When you surrender the need to know, clarity begins to surface, not as fireworks, but as subtle nudges. You feel drawn toward different conversations, different environments, different ideas. Synchronicities increase. Opportunities appear without force, not because the universe is suddenly rewarding you, but because you are no longer resisting the update. Imagine holding a rope tied to a dog while a boat is trying to drift into open water. The tension exhausts you. The moment you release the rope, the boat moves naturally. The release doesn't create the current, it allows it. The transformation arc, embodying the new timeline. When you begin to trust the transition, something stabilizes inside you. Your breath deepens, your choices simplify, your reactions soften. You stop trying to perform certainty. You allow yourself to say, I don't know yet. And that honesty becomes power. Because authenticity is the anchor of the new identity. You start noticing subtle changes. You don't tolerate what once drained you. You don't chase what once validated you. You don't cling to what once defined you. It's not rebellion, it's refinement. The timeline shift becomes visible externally. only after it stabilizes internally. First, your self-concept changes, then your standards, then your behavior, then your environment responds. It's sequential. Identity to energy, to action, to reality. And right now, you're in the identity phase, the invisible part, the dissolving part, the sacred part. Trusting the reorganization. You don't need to know the entire path. You only need to stop fighting the transition. Storms don't destroy the sky. They move through it. Your confusion is a weather pattern. You are the sky. The version of you that feels unstable is not your foundation. It's your temporary cloud cover. Beneath it, something stable is forming, something more aligned, something less performative, something truer. And when this stabilization completes, you'll look back and realize this was the pivot, not the breakdown, not the failure, the pivot, readiness. If this found you at the exact moment you've been questioning everything, pause, breathe. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not lost. You are between timelines. And the space between is where reality rewrites itself. Let the confusion exist without labeling it as danger. Let the uncertainty breathe without forcing resolution. Because what feels like emptiness may actually be expansion. And if this message resonated with something deeper than logic, if it felt less like information and more like recognition, then trust that, not because of destiny, but because readiness recognizes itself. If this aligned with where you are right now, like and subscribe, not for the algorithm, but as a commitment to your own evolution. You didn't click this by accident, and you're not in this phase by accident either. The shift has already begun. Now let it unfold.